These are in listen-only mode.
Hello, guys. Hope you can hear me. Just about to show the screen there. Just want to let you guys know that I'm here. It's David speaking. I want to welcome you to today's session. I'm just going to go ahead and get started as soon as possible. I'm just going to go ahead and share that screen really quickly. One second. Just going to give maybe 2 or 3 more minutes for the rest to attend, and then we're just going to go ahead and get started. And again, like I said, once we're done, you should receive this video. You will be receiving this recording, of course, via email as long as you're registered. So once more, thank you for choosing Sage, and we will be starting in a couple of minutes. Okay, we're going to go and get started, guys. So I'm just starting right here from the beginning. I'm about to share my screen and we will get started. There we go. I believe the screen is being shared. Let's go ahead and get started. Want to thank you for attending today's webcast. We will be working with external data sets with Sage Business Cloud Accounting. So this comes from one of the customers, just like you guys, the people that actually use the product, and a lot of questions have actually come up where people are pretty much asking, "Hey, look, okay, there is some information outside of the program that I'm trying to use with my data within the program. And of course, since we're still working on building that API to perfect it, we there are some certain issues there where we do have some, for example, budgets coming out of the program where you want to use those budgets to compare with what you currently have within the program on the cloud. This is where you can actually work with external data sets. So I'm going to show you how that can be done. Really, really simple. And I'm going to keep the presentation really nice and brief so you guys can um, ask any questions that you might have right after that. So I'm just continuing here. Of course, this presentation is being recorded and it will be provided to you via email. Any questions that you have, please do not hesitate to email me at david.acco-bryant@sage.com. And that's my Twitter handle down there at the bottom. It's at Bryant_IR. Today's agenda, again, going to keep it really nice and brief. The intro, of course, demo, and then Q&A. So straight to the intro. Don't worry, my screen is not moving. It's just a quick introduction there. Sage Intelligence and Microsoft Excel. So if you're using Sage Intelligence on the cloud, it could be the Sage Business Cloud Accounting, it could be Sage 50 Cloud. If you're using it, you do have the option to use Microsoft Excel. You can download that information to a Microsoft Excel sheet, and once it's on that sheet, you can pull it down to your computer. You can pretty much make it sing and dance. It's essentially something we're going to do. So we're going to go ahead and I've already created a nice little budget sheet here that's coming externally, and I'll show you guys where the sheet's coming from. It's right here on my desktop. Then we're going to play with some data coming directly from the cloud. Then what's going to happen is we're going to merge those two into one worksheet, not the way you would suppose with a copy paste, because that sometimes tends to get really cumbersome, especially if you have lots of columns and rows. That does take a lot of time, and you'll see exactly what I'm saying. What I've done here is a really simple demo, but you'll get the point. You'll see just how easy it is and how useful and beneficial it is when you're using this with huge data sets. That's going to be part of the demo. I'm going to show you how you can access and download the report, of course, directly from the cloud if you're not already doing that. Then we're going to use Microsoft Excel as a data source. That's what we're going to do. So we're not just going to go in and say, copy this row, open up the next sheet, paste it in here, clean it out. No, what we're going to do is we're going to import that from an external data source, which is Excel. We already have the data source there, and you'll see exactly what it looks like. Apologize if I'm saying data source or data source, pretty much the same thing. Then we're going to finish up with summary and useful links and media. So let me start that off right now. Here we go. Okay, so of course, those of you that are familiar, this of course is indeed Sage Business Cloud Accounting right here. That's what we're looking at. And of course, when you click there, you go to the reporting and then it'll take you to Sage Intelligence. If you're not familiar with this window, this is exactly how we get to Sage Intelligence. So I'm just going to simply click on Sage Intelligence. It will bring us to our Sage Intelligence landing window. That's our Sage Intelligence landing window right there. I'm just going to maximize that really quickly. So we do have the reports, my reports for all the standard reports there. I'm sorry, for the custom reports that you may have created. These are the standard reports, of course, that were created by the Sage Intelligence team. You can copy all of the standard reports and you can make changes to them. We also have some business, some Power BI reports. Sorry, we have some Power BI reports. These are dashboards, and of course, you cannot customize those yet, but you get the point. There is a completely different webcast for that one. And we do have some additional reports. So as we're creating these reports, these dashboards, more and more, we're actually going to be uploading them to the additional reports section. Before we run any reports, though, the standard reports, it's always good to check the data load right here. Pretty much tells you what information has been loaded directly from your Sage Business Cloud Accounting program. So I'm going to click on data load. And so this is telling me that this is the company that's been loaded, and these are all of the different years. 2018, 19, 2017, they're all here. If there's some specific years that you don't want to load, it's easy. Just go ahead and uncheck that specific button, and it will get rid of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave those three checked, and let's close out of it. Okay, so let me see additional reports. I'm going to take you back to the standard reports right here. These are standard reports. So what I'm going to do right now, really quickly, see if I can minimize this and show you what my, I'll show you my Excel file really quickly, what I have available for you guys. So 1 second. So on my desktop, I have a file. It's essentially budgets. So I do have some information. I've got some financial information directly on in Sage Business Cloud Accounting. And I want to grab that information and merge it with my budget. So I want to be able to, let's say, create a nice little table comparing my budgets versus maybe my overheads or pretty much budgets to everything that I currently have within that financial statement. Now, unfortunately, within Sage Business Cloud Accounting, we do not have that option yet for the budgets to do the comparator. This is where we can grab that information and we can download it to Excel and stay logged into the cloud and pull this information through. And once the information has been pulled through, we can import it. Once it's imported there from a data source, which is what we're looking at right now, we can start working with charts, with graphs, with our own custom calculations to work with this external data to compare with what we currently have on the cloud. So this is what I have here. It's just a simple sheet. It's just called budget for the quarter. These are all the amounts. You guys can create this. You can put in as many columns and as many rows as you want. Again, like I said, I'm keeping it really nice and simple. Don't want to waste a lot of time. And I just renamed this sheet budget data down here at the bottom. There's a sheet 2 and a sheet 3. Of course, they come standard when you create a brand new workbook. So that's it. The data is here. It's budget quarter. And these are all the budgets that I put in there, and it's in a sheet. And this workbook, the sheet is called budget data. That's pretty much all we're going to work with, because I'm going to take you back now here to Sage Intelligence. And what we're going to do here is I'm going to work with the profit and loss for the current period in the year to date. So I'm simply going to go ahead and click this sheet right here. I'm going to click that button, sorry. So it's SI Traders Corp for the year 2018 up to period 3. Again, this is all up to you. You can change this as much as you want. I'm not going to show the account detail in this case, which is something I always do, because it has a lot of data there and a lot of spaces. I don't want to ruin that. So I'll leave that at that. I'll show the period number and the column heading. Don't worry about that either. I'm simply just going to run this report, and once it runs out, you'll see exactly what it looks like. We're going to download it now to our machine as soon as it's been run out. So there it is, profit and loss for the period ending 31st August 2017. Please don't worry about the dates. It's pretty much a fiscal year. It doesn't match the calendar year. That's why we might be set to 2018, but it's giving us a 2017 year ending. So don't worry about that. If there's anything you want to change here, if you want to show the account detail of the account number, or if you want to go up to a certain number of periods, you can definitely come up here. You can do so right now. You can change those specific periods. For now, I'm just going to go ahead and grab this up until period 3. That's just August 2017. And of course, this is the August year to date. So what I can do now is I can go ahead and compare this with the budget, the details. A couple of things. I'm going to take you back to Sage Business Cloud Accounting really quickly. Now, this is a profit and loss. All of these reports that we have available within Business Cloud Accounting, they work fine, but they do not have the budgets there. You cannot compare them with visuals, like graphs, like charts. You can't do that. This is where Excel pretty much comes in. So I can simply come in here. I can say, okay, let's go ahead and download this to Excel, and I will do that right now. So here we go. Notice how at the top right-hand corner, you can pop out this report, make it bigger. You can actually open up this report in a PDF if you want to email it to your customers, or you can simply click on Excel. Hope I'm not going too fast. So I'm simply going to click on it right there. Once I click on Excel, depending on your browser, you may be prompted to either run it, to save it if you want to open it from a secure location. Mine, it's down here at the bottom. I'm using Chrome. That's it right there, profit and loss. That's it right there for the period ending 31st August. And yes, you can fully customize this report to your needs before downloading. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to click on it. That's just my browser. It all depends. It's different. I'm going to click on it. It's going to open up on my machine coming up. There it is. Profit and loss for the period ending 31st August 2017. There it is right there. This is that data that I'm looking at. And I want to be able to compare budgets with this information. If you noticed to the right hand side, there is an app. We do have the add-in. It's a Sage 1 Global Intelligence add-in. And if I want, I can sign in. Let me see if I have that sign in information there really quickly for you guys. When I sign in, what it's doing is it's just keeping me tied to the cloud. So I'm going to see if I can get that signed in. It's opening up really, really slow. I don't know why. There we go. Successfully logged in. You may now close this window and continue in Excel. What's happened here is I just clicked on that sign in button. So not only am I using this data in Excel on my machine, but I'm still logged in to the cloud right here. So this information that I have currently in Sage Business Cloud Accounting, it's also available in Excel, which means that if I were to go in there and if I were to change some parameters once the information has been fully downloaded, if I were to change some parameters from let's say 2018 to 2019, all the data tied to it should also change, should also be affected. Really quickly, I'm just going to go here. It says select companies you want to report off. So it's SI Traders Corp that I'm using. That's fine. I'm just going to choose to load it. When I choose load, it's downloading all this information. So I'm tied to the cloud right now. That's what it's doing. And that does come in very handy. For example, you want to compare your budgets to multiple different years. You can definitely do that. So it's fully tied now. Good to go. What I want to do now, I want to bring some information directly from the cloud. I'm going to show you a couple of things really quickly, and we're going to throw some troubleshooting in there. If I wanted to put that data in here, I would get an error message because you see this black banner up top here. This is part of the calculation field, the Sage Intelligence Calculated field. So if I were to put anything in there with an import, it would pretty much tell me, hey, look, yeah, you cannot put that, you cannot overlap this XML document because it's part of the calculation field. And I'll show you what that looks like. So what I will do is I'm going to grab this. I'll put it here instead. This is outside the canvas. I just like calling that the canvas. This is outside the canvas. So I'm going to drop that in there. Remember, this is our data source right here. It's the budget details. Remember, there's a heading called budget for the quarter, and it's in that sheet called budget data. So what I'm going to do is I'll simply click here. How do we get the information in? Like I said, sometimes you can just simply do a copy paste, copy everything here. You can right click on it and just say copy, fine. But what if you have multiple sheets? Sheet 1, Sheet 2, Sheet 3 with lots of information. What if you have multiple columns and rows? Copying and pasting will take a long time, especially if you do have a lot of information, a lot of data coming through months, coming through years, different periods. You get the point. So what you can do is you can actually use Excel here as a data source. And what we're going to do is, we'll do that right now in the demo, take you back to the profit and loss that was downloaded directly from Sage Business Cloud Accounting. What we're going to do is let's just throw that in here. I'm going to leave this cell. This is where I wanted to start counting. So it's as easy as going to data from the main menu. Here we go. Then I'm going to go ahead and say get data, and we're going to choose from file. And let's hold it right there. Good question came in. Someone is asking if it's only Excel. No, it is not only from Excel that you can pull this information. You can get it from a database. It could come from a SQL Server. It could come from Microsoft Access, from Microsoft Azure. It's all up to you where you can get this information. As long as you can connect to it, you have permissions to connect to that information. It could be on your desktop or online. You can pull it in, okay? Notice how you've got the online services. You've got other sources. This is entirely up to you. So what I'm going to do here is let's go ahead and get this from file, and it's from a simple workbook that we created. I'm going to say from workbook. It's on my desktop, and I called it budget details right there. So that's it, budget details. I'm just going to click there, and I will click import. Once we choose to import this, Should get a nice little dialog box popping up, and it's really very practical because you can actually see what you're doing before you import it. So this is the navigator that we're looking at here. If I have multiple sheets, I can select multiple items, but it's a simple one, so I'm just going to work with budget details. So once I click on it, notice how that budget data sheet that we had created, it's right there, and then this is the sheet 2 and the sheet 3. So I'm going to simply click on budget data right there. Notice how it's giving me a preview right here. It's giving me a nice little preview of the information before I import it. If you see the null there, it just means there's no value. There's no value in that specific cell. So I'll take you back there. That's the null value right there. There's no value there. That's what we're looking at, okay? It's budget quarter, and notice at the bottom we do have budget data as a sheet name. So see if I can take you back there again. Profit and loss. Take you back here. Sometimes, if you do have a lot of information, as I mentioned, in multiple sheets, multiple rows, multiple columns, you can choose to transform this data. When you choose to transform it, you'll get a little query editor pop up there. It's going to pretty much show you all the information. It's going to evaluate it, and then you can choose to transform. You can move those columns and those rows around just like that. I mean, this is completely up to you now. If you like, you can choose to clean it. Essentially, it's called data cleansing. You can say, look, I do have a lot of budgets. I have a lot of spaces, a lot of columns and rows. You can say, you know what, choose to remove rows. You can choose specific columns that you want to show. So that's up to you. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to close out of this, and everything will close out. I'm just going to say discard, and it's gone. So let's go ahead and import that one more time so we can do it together. So data, I'm going to say get data really quickly. Get data from file from a workbook. It's going to pop up its budget details. Again, that's on my desktop. It always remembers the last location. Let's choose to import that information. We're going to get the nice little navigator pop up. Once the navigator jumps up, there it is. Navigator, I'm going to choose budget data, and I'm just going to say load to. There's a load button down here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to choose to load to. If I choose to load it, it's just going to grab it all and it's going to throw it anywhere on this sheet, on this in this workbook, and that's not what I want. I want to load it to a specific location. So I'm going to choose load to, and once I do that, once I choose to load to, I get another import data wizard pop up. How do I want to load it? Do you want to make it as a table or a pivot table report or pivot chart? These are all very useful, but for all intents and purposes, I just want to put it in this existing worksheet. And once I do that, notice how the cell that I'd selected was already being highlighted. It's telling me that this was going to throw the information. So I'm going to click OK, and it will dump all that data in there. And to the right, I should get a queries and connections section here. It's pretty much just telling me the information that was loaded. These are the columns. If it was refreshed, that's entirely up to me if I want to keep. So I'm going to close out of that. And there we have it. So what we have right now, we've pretty much successfully downloaded this information. Again, you can always go ahead and you can work on the columns and rows of format. It's entirely up to you. Don't worry if there's no net profit and loss because I didn't put a budget for net profit and loss. So I just put it for these specific columns right here. So what we've done is we've successfully imported that. We've used Excel as a data source. Now, someone just asked a very good question. What if the data in Excel and the data source changes? If it does change, you can definitely go ahead and you can refresh it. You can simply go to data right here. And now once you do that, you can look at your existing connections, or you can just choose to refresh all, and it's going to refresh all the data coming from that existing connection. But really quickly, now that we have this information, what can we do with it? It's simple. We have all this data in here, so I can come on now and I can just say, you know what, let's insert a nice little table, shall we? So I can just copy everything that I have here like this. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. Okay, we can copy that. Once that's copied, we can say insert. And once we choose to insert, let's put in a nice little chart. Let's go ahead and get a columnar chart right here. So we've inserted a chart. I'm just going to move this a bit and make it as big as possible so you guys can see it much better. And we now have a chart. The chart's pretty much tying the information that we're looking at. So there's some couple of things that we can do with this chart. So if we want, we can edit the chart series. We can say, you know what? Let me see if I can edit that chart series really quickly. Just move that a bit around. There we go. I'm going to edit that. So notice how we've got some chart filters there. This is where I can say, you know what? Let's get rid of all those blanks. I don't want those blanks. They're not serving any purpose. So I'm getting rid of all of those blanks. Just going to scroll down, see if I can get rid of some more. There we go, total income, overheads, the rest is what we're looking at. Good, I can just choose to apply it, and now we have pretty much cleaned out the chart. See, we've cleaned it out now, it looks a lot neater. And the good thing with these is once you click on specific sections there, look at what happens. You can actually click on them, and once you click, it actually highlights those. So notice how blue from the legend, blue is the actual, gray is the actual year to date, and of course the green is the budget for the quarter. I'm going to grab this and I will move this a bit to the right so you guys can see it better. A couple of things now. Remember how we mentioned that we are now still tied to the cloud? A couple of things that we can do. If we did have data coming from 2017, I could simply click there in 2007 in that little box that shows the year. And I can change it to 2017. If there is indeed information, I'm going to hit enter really quickly. Notice how it's actually changing the data. It is downloading it, and now we have different data from a different year. Don't worry, it's refreshing. It'll be much faster on your machine, and there it is. So now we have refreshed the information directly from the cloud, and look what's happening. Sales is much higher, direct expenses, and if you take a look at it, our budget quarter is also there. You can also put in your custom calculations to show the differences between the two. And if you do that, you can also include that on your sheet. You can include that on your chart, sorry. You can go ahead and say, you know what, let's see what the budget is compared to the other information that we're looking at. I'll definitely see if I can move that a bit here to the right so you guys can see it. There we go. So I'm just going to go ahead and call this variance. We got the variance in there. Okay, so we got the variance. Let's just go and get some formulas in there. It's just equal to, let's see, we're just going to get that equal to the budget minus year-to-date average. I'm just going to leave it at that. There we go. So that's been fully calculated for you guys already. It's already put in there for you. And now, if you want, we can go ahead and we can pretty much change this chart, the way the chart is. I can delete this chart completely, and let's go get another one. I'm just going to go back here. Let's copy that. So now we have something that's comparing the actual year-to-date. Let me see, actual year-to-date, budget year-to-date. There we go. And let's get the insert again. And of course, someone just asked another question. The answer is yes, indeed. All of the information will adjust accordingly. Let me see if I can open that up again. I'm just going to work on those on the filters one more time. There we go. Actual year to date. I don't want actual August. That takes too much. I'm just going to work with the actual August, the actual year to date. So let's see. Let's get rid of all of those little blanks again. And there we have it. I'm done there. That should pretty much do it. I'm going to click apply. There we go. So that's the sheet that we're looking at now. This is the chart that's tied to it. There we go. That is the information. So now notice how we've got the sales, the actual year to date, the budget, and the variance. That's it right there. So now if I were to go ahead, I'm going to say, you know what, let's flip that now. I'm just going to flip that really quickly back to 2018. And I'm going to hit enter. Should refresh again. That's it, refreshing. And notice how everything is changing. I'm talking the variance is going to change, the budget, sorry, not the variance for all of them, the actual year to date, and that's it right there. So just by importing this information, by using Excel as a completely different data source, notice how we've been able to analyze this a lot more efficiently. Instead of having to grab this information, dump it into another sheet, go grab another sheet, copy, paste, dump it in there, and then start creating our own charts and graphs. So it's really as simple as that. If you guys want, you can definitely email me and I can send you this demo data, what I'm looking at right here, and I can show you how I did it. Don't hesitate to send me any questions that you might have. Also, yes, there is a drill down. So if you're tied to the cloud, you can simply place your mouse on a specific number like sales. And if there is information to drill down, you can go here to the app and choose to drill down. When you choose to drill down, it's going to open up another sheet and it's drilled down on it and it's showing you the year and the periods that made up that specific number. So in a nutshell, that is essentially what we can do with Excel. And this was really small. Remember, as I said, this was just Excel. It was just one little workbook, but you can work with Access. You can work with Excel. If you have Google Analytics, you can work with Azure, anything. As long as you can connect to that database and it's structured with columns and rows, you can pull that information and you can compare it now. Once you're done with all this, of course, you can save this. You can send it to your coworkers. That's entirely up to you. So I'm just going to take you guys back now to what we finished up on. So that was Sage Intelligence. That's what we looked at. It was a simple report. We downloaded it to our machine, and we've actually pulled this information from our budget details right there. And notice how with that we've been able to work with it and create some nice little sheets and our custom calculations in there. So I just want to finish up right now. For those of you who have any questions, please do not hesitate to let me know. Just finishing up. So that was pretty much our demo there. We accessed and we downloaded that report. We use Microsoft Excel as a data source, and then we imported that information from Microsoft Excel as the external data source, created our nice little calculations, put in our charts there, our graphs, and you should pretty much we stayed tied to the cloud. So just by flipping around the parameters, the year parameters, notice how the information refreshed, and every calculation and every graph or chart that was tied to it also was adjusted based on these changes that we're mentioning. So finishing up there with the summary and useful links. That was a demo that we're looking at right there. Just get some meaningful insights, of course, into your business information on the go with Sage Intelligence. Save time, take control, make better business decisions like we just did right there. Log in, please. Now's your chance. Just log in and explore today. And while you're in there, anything that you might have some questions on, if you're locked up on it, just let me know, and I'll definitely be there to respond. And Excel and Sage Intelligence. Just join our tips and tricks newsletters. It's right there online. It's just sageintelligence.com/subscribe/Excel for the Excel group. And for Sage Intelligence, it's sageintelligence.com/subscribe/SI. For learning and resources, always check out our learning portal. This video and others like it will be uploaded there. It's learning.sageintelligence.com. That was pretty much it. So if you have any questions, please let me know, because I'm going to end this specific presentation on this. So I'm just going to say thank you. If you have any questions, though, let me see if you do. If not, then you can definitely, like I said, you can ask me those questions in real time if you want, or you can go ahead and you can shoot me an email. Okay, so yeah, a couple questions are coming in there. Yeah, so like I said, if ever the information were to change into this cell, and I'm just going to come here really quickly. If information were to change here, like this is 150. If we were to go ahead and just flip that to 135,500, like this, that information were to flip, and I just did that. Let me just go ahead and save this file really quickly. So let's say it's being saved real time, you're working on it. This is 135. What would happen then is, if you want this information to be refreshed here, you'd actually have to come to data in this sheet, because it's still tied. You're gonna have to refresh it all. You're gonna have to say refresh all, and notice how 135 now shows up. There it is right there. So all we did was refresh it. You don't need to go back and retype it. Retyping is going to take a long time. So that's the 135,500 that's being reflected here now. That's it. So if we were to come in there and just change pretty much anything else, just set some other numbers there. Let me see. I'm just going to set something else. Let's just put 75,000 instead. We should get those two figures to change immediately once that's done. So let's just take you back here again to the sheet. That's it, profit and loss. And of course, we can just say refresh all, and that's it. And the information has been refreshed. That's the 75 and the 20,000. And like I said, any chart or graph that is tied to it and any custom calculation will also refresh. 2019, if there is data for 2019, let's just go in there. I'm going to hit enter. That's it. That's going to refresh directly from the cloud. And that's pretty much it. Okay, guys. So as mentioned, I didn't want to take up all of your time, but please just let me know. Keep me posted if you have any questions whatsoever with this. And if you do want to see this sheet, if you want me to send this, I can definitely send this to you, and you guys can play along with it. You can even go in there and use your data, because remember, when you download information from the cloud, you're not technically changing it within Sage. You're not editing it within Sage Accounting. It's all on Excel on your machine for more analysis. There's a lot more that you could do with this, but again, I just wanted to show you the possibilities from this little brief standpoint. So that's pretty much it. I want to thank you for taking time off your busy schedule to attend today's webcast. And again, like I said, you will be receiving it via email. Once more, thank you for choosing Sage, and enjoy the rest of your week. Goodbye.